Driven by the passion of economic research, he graduated from Beijing University with Ph.D. on economics. Dr. Michael is visiting professor and researcher at Beijing University and Wuhan University. His remarkable research interests and accomplishments in the macroeconomics, global economy, and industry research creates a difference about the way we know him. Besides teaching at universities, he is a serious investor at the same time in multiple global platforms in China, US, and India across. Encouraged by his professor, Mr. Foran Dong and Yining Li, who are the most famous professors at China on modern economic research and policy making, Mr. Michael started his career as an entrepreneur from late 90s of the last century. Personally, he has been participating on setting up 2 investment funds with total AUM of $300 million. Also, Mr. Michael has been sitting on advisory board with Ministry of Commerce, Ministry of Information Technology of China on national policy development on certain industries, as well as to the government officers on the province and the city levels. Michael has been awarded by the Chinese government as one of the top 100 overseas returnees as per the figure of the years of outsourcing industry for many years by the Ministry of Information and Technology. He has been awarded one of the best entrepreneurs by Xi'an High-Tech Industrial Development Zone, and he has been successful global economist, investor, front-runner leader across geographies and across industries. Michael was being frequently spoken to and covered at The Economist, Detroit News, Crane Detroit, and many other channels. He has been a global personality, and we have this privilege today of having him right now in our session here. It's a real privilege to introduce and welcome Dr. Michael to address us and guide us through the global trends of electric vehicle as a transformation from the fuel-driven vehicles, and also provide us insights on how to develop a career in the dynamic, fast-growing EV industry. Please, sir.
Thank you for the introduction. Good afternoon, everyone. I prepared a PPT to share this afternoon. I will speak slow because a lot of people first time hear my English would have a difficulty. I will try my best. First, a congratulations for our young business leader, because you're going to graduate very soon, next year, from one of the best business schools. Your career is a flourish. You will have a beautiful career in front of you to become business leader. So I would like to share my understanding as a global investors on the India, on the EV industry, and how that will attract and impact your career. Let's first look at India. India is probably the only one major global economy leading as developing country, leading by service industry. It's so unique. As we all know, ITES is so strong. The Infosys, TCS, HCL, they become the global leaders. Those companies and sectors driven the India growth. If you look at it globally from history, agriculture, industrial, and services. India, from this chart, you can see is bypass of the industry, directly coming from agriculture to the service industries. 23% of population employed at the service industries, generating almost, this is a little bit old number, generating 60% of the national GDP. You think about the pandemic, the one industry not impact is service outsourcing. Maybe at the 2020, a little bit for a couple months, that's sliding down. But right now, all major service leaders, they're in the spirit of the recruiting. On another side, which is agriculture, 60% of the population is still in agriculture. So India is going to support 1.4 billion people, the largest population country in the world next year. So agriculture productivity is not very high. Fertilizer, water reservoir is still to be built. Most important, you look at industry. It's really less people employed, and then output is very low. Let's create the scenario, number one, which is the ITS people. They buy the industrial product in the premium, mobile phones, vehicles, anything manufactured product in the India has been sold in the premium. On another side, because the agriculture people cannot move to the industry, so the tractor, the massive agriculture production is almost non-exist. India agriculture is still driven by humans, it's not by the machines. So when that's an understanding, it will give you the impact. What the future will be. It will give you the impact. What a career should be picked. Number two, let's better look at India. I say the best way from a macroeconomic sense to understand India, 4 numbers. First is 1.4 billion populations, largest country in the world. It's going to bypass China, that's for sure. It will happen next year. On another side, India is youngest age in the global major economy. When we say major global economy, which means India is the 4th largest global economy already. US, China, Japan, India. And India already bypassed, if the number right, India already bypassed the Germany. When this kind of major global economy, India only 27 years old. And they're young, energized, adopt the new technology, fast moved, because age makes a difference. They just move to the city, they're going to buy the property, they're going to try the new brand. If anybody going to pick the career as marketing, this is a very important number to you, because India needs a lot of new brands. Because young, if you think about it, say, okay, your father started 30 years ago with Bajaj. Right now, you graduate. Will you start your career with Bajaj again? All brands, they're new. 27 years old, which means 5 years ago, they just graduated from college. Every brand could be making in India. Next number, which is third number we look at, is per capita GDP. I don't know how many people have background from economics because you're MBA. Per capita GDP calculated as national GDP divided by national total population, which reflect per person how much output the person can make as GDP number. So as output, it will be further split among the 3 parts. Number 1, disposable income. Number 2, government tax. Number 3, equity investors' money return. So rule of thumb would be 60% per capita GDP will become disposable income. 25% government tax. Rest would be the equity return. So 60%, $2,100 per capita GDP. That's implying India at this stage, disposable yearly income, $1,200 to the $1,500. If you further do the research, there's a strong correlation between the industry wins per capita GDP. The reason is very simple. If you only have the $1,200 income, how could you afford for the four-wheelers, for example? There is a certain industry, globally speaking, from the history. There's a $200 or $2,000 benchmark, $4,000 benchmark, $6,000 benchmark. For example, typically a country real estate start booming around the $4,000. Four-wheelers start booming $6,000. So global economies from the Latin America, Middle East, Asian, which is East Asian. They're called the middle income track. Bypass $10,000 is very difficult. After the Second World War, very few, less than 10 countries, bypass $10,000. Such as Korea, such as China, very limited, Japan, all those. And then you look at another side, such as the Latin America, Argentina, Mexico, they've been tracked. They stopped at the $6,000, and they never grow, bypass over this stage. So in the $2,100 per capita GDP implies potential is very big. Meanwhile, you have to decide what kind of industry you need to devote your time. The fourth number is urbanization rate. India is 34%, which means city population divided by national population, 34% of population live in the city. This accelerated very fast. People moving to the cities from education, from the job, even from marriage. That's called migrants to the city. When the real estate is booming. Right now I'm at Pune, which is our factory at Pune. So Pune, every billboard is real estate. Everybody is proud to say 5 years ago, this area is the farmland. Oh, last year, my real estate increased 30%. That's called urbanizations. When those four numbers, population, largest population, the youngest age, and then when the limited income, and then when the fast urbanization rate moving to the influx, and then moving to the city, lot of opportunities. We have to base our judgment, base our choices on the micro, on the trend. I don't know how many people have you heard. Choices is more important than hard working. If you pick something right, you're on the trend. Yes, you need hard work working, no doubt. However, you need wisely to pick some of the trend. Option, the choices is most important. So, yes, you're going to graduate from one of the best business school. However, as we all know, the most difficult test is not the GMAT, is not for your college acceptance. There is a UPSC. The elite group of people, the smart people, they come to the city, they come to the government. India is the largest democracy country in the world. How government set their policy, how that would be impact of your career choices. government right now in India talking about two things. Making India, digital in India. Let's further analyze what's the government implying and what that impact our career. Digital India, government is implying. Yes, we digitally enable the world. We take our talents through the ITS outsourcing, we exchange it for the dollars, for the foreign income. However, we want to take that kind of power, digital power, change the country, change the India, which is government. They did a PAN card and all those, basically quickly change it. Every household get the bank account. I mean, for the countryside, just not too long ago. And in the meanwhile, the digital wallet is so popular. You asking yourself, how many people nowadays still carry the money? What's definitions about money? That's power of the digital India. Another thing is very strong, making India. As we already see, making India, which means let's transfer the people from agriculture to the industry. If you want all this kind of migrants, want all this kind of transfer, the too many people in the agriculture and the countryside, the productivity, the tractor, the machine, don't need to use, cannot be used. The exploration of the farming is very low. So that's what government want to get the industry. And the second part is consumer, tier one, high-tech city people. They have to pay the high premium for the manufactured product, such as me, such as TVs and OnePlus, pay a lot of money for the premium for the manufactured goods. So when those three slides asking your questions, should you continue go to the service industry, or you're willing to think about the future, which is, if you believe government said, making India, digital India, maybe you cannot say everybody pick something that's hard, that is good. You have to look at it, really looking hard, deeper. What is the real opportunities? India, after the pandemic, global major economy also talking about diversified risk because manufacturing all in China. Global supply chain all in China. If you don't change it, for the US, Europe customers, they're nervous. They want to invest in the India for the manufacturers. If you believe this representing the future, because this is all the numbers. So thinking about your career twice before you say, all right, my brother, my elder brother, my friend, they all go to the outsourcing industries. That's my first questions. What's the future? Second, let's talk about the EV industries. EV industry are more and more hotter, become the buzzword. So globally speaking, Tesla, 18 years old company, their market cap is more than the rest of all automotive company combined. Certainly this number dropped from last year, but it's still Tesla. Elon Musk is the richest person in the world. So how that possible? 18 years old company, they're much more valued than the rest of the company combined. If that's the Tesla, look at another company. Most people never heard about this company, NIO. So NIO for couple for time period, which is last year, their market cap is more than 112 years old GM. The number is 2 years ago, sorry. So what that's implying to? Why the EV industry is so hot? Why the investor gives so much values? Let's further look at. Everybody heard the General Motors. Everybody heard the Ford Motors, even they don't do good in India, in the automotive industry. Ford Motor already completely retreat. General Motors not doing good. However, globally, they're still the leaders. The Ford Motor is the founding father of the modern automotive industries. Those companies, they all acclaimed very boldly last year. So we are not going to make any fuel-driven vehicles. You're so young. You might be in your 20s or mid or late 20s. Thinking about 2035. That's 13 years later. So before your age of 40s, sorry, you don't have the fuel-driven vehicle to drive. Over 100 years, right now, human being makes a sharp turns. And we look at from the demanding side. Is my pace okay, or you understand my English, or?
Perfectly okay, sir. Please continue.
Okay, thank you. So look at from demanding side, we make the Europe as example. Every country, they have the very clearly spelled the deadline for converting 100% to the EV. Norway, 2025. UK, 2035. Don't forget, UK is the origin of the Industrial Revolution. Industrial Revolution is driven by the coal, driven by oil. Right now, they say, no, we're going to get rid of those for the automotive industry. The impact is quite deep. Sometimes the future is still, because future is not happening. Different people have different opinion talking about the future. But in future, everything takes a sequence, take the reason to happen. The reason and the sequence coming from history. History is nicely connected with future. So if the future is debatable, is unforeseeable, let's look over the history. Everybody know, I guess I don't know the MBA training for in India. Typical MBA, they will say, okay, there are the three most important contributions from Henry Ford. Number one, key model, automotive industry. Number two, put the assembly line into the automotive industry. He made the assembly line to be the norm for the manufacturing. The third, the history book say Henry Ford making the $5 per day for his workers. And then that salary is high. So that makes the T model can be adopted, affordable for the average Americans. So typical at that time, typical T model is $600. If you make the $5 per day, so you do the calculation, only the couple months you can afford to buy the T models. On another side, let's look at Rockefeller. Rockefeller, some people say Rockefeller is ready. Some people say, you know, he created a lot of welfare systems. Rockefeller is the richest person at that time in the world. So Rockefeller, his contribution to the human being is he becomes the king of the oil. He founded a company called Standards. Through the acquisition, he bought all refineries for the oil industry. And then he becomes the monopolies. However, the fact, if you read the history, is at that time, Rockefeller cannot find the usage for his oil. The oil is mainly used for lighting purpose. That's certainly before the Thomas Edison, before the Roman Park, which is the electricity come to the history. So human being using the oil to replace thin oil, fish oil for lighting purpose only. Somehow these two gentlemen, you read the history have a lot of fortunate. Those two gentlemen started working. And the automotive picked the oil as driving force for 100 years. At that time, even the Tesla is competing with the Thomas Edison. So even the Tesla, he is suggesting using the electricity for the driving the vehicle. However, electricity is very limited. And some people talking about coal, some people talking about wood even. So let's think about a human being, how we get together today. Let's start from someplace. So overall, oil has been used for vehicle for over 100 years. Right now, carbon control, zero emission become to the global trend. If we're continuously using the same coal, oil as our energy, the world might be no existence. Because at that time, like the UK, like US, like European country, when they developed, the pollution is not this kind of danger. We're talking about the extinct of our Mother Earth. If we don't do the carbon control, their emission, we might, the Mother Earth might not exist. So with that kind of consideration, the EV industries is creating the big push. And another thing is very interesting is India's EV, we're going to explain. India's EV started from two-wheelers. You think about it, oil cannot come into your vehicle. However, battery can come to your vehicle. With IT technology at any single minute, if your battery is low, you pull your phone, searching the nearby places, holding the battery. You push a button, somebody carry the battery for you. That's what life can be. When that's kind of understanding, let's talk about how EV happening in the India right now. Number one, McKinsey, they said, the industry is going to grow 20 times in 4 years. Not too long ago, which is 20 years ago, internet, we're talking about like that. 4 years, 20 times, certainly is compounding as a big change. At the beginning, nobody believed. So look at it right now. The travel industry totally changed. And the movies, and a lot of every industry have been profoundly impacted by the internet. At the early of that time, certainly I'm also at your age. So when we talked about the internet, a lot of people, they don't believe it. They don't believe it that everybody is going to shopping online. They don't believe it everybody going to watch the movie online from Netflix. That's a good example. So that's happened. Look at this chart. The EV industry is going to happen like the internet. India, once per capita GDP, we explained when the age population we talked, India is very unique. India is moving to the EV by the two-wheelers. Then the infrastructure, the context of the EV revolution is totally different. As consumer of the Indians, we need to wake up. Don't mistakenly leading by the US or China or Europe, those kind of theories, for example. You say, okay, where's the gas station? Where's the charge point? Why you need a charge point? If your battery is only the 20 kg or 15 kg, why? And then your battery is thermal safe, which we do the thermal safe, LFP, you can charge at home. Why you need a charge point? Because the vehicle, four-wheeler, cannot imagine you get home, especially in the India. However, two-wheelers totally different. So because reason is very simple, per capita GDP. So that's I'm trying to emphasize, looking the big picture, and then you see the fact. India's per capita GDP is $2,100. Certainly, India is a two-wheelers country. 91% of registered vehicles, they are two-wheelers. This sector is going to move to the EV. That's certainly a lot of people, everybody know, Ola, Ethers, we are competing with them. Certainly we don't make a lot of buzzword yet. So, India, EV industry. EV is, every country is driven by the government policy. In the India called FAME2. FAME2 started from the March 31st, 2019. And India's lack of the global R&Ds, the speed is not over there. The totally in the EV today is a seller's market, very limited offering. Even there's a couple hundred companies, very limited offering for the high speed, especially once deep research. Because they don't do global R&Ds. And most important thing is, as we say, India from market segment is two countries almost. One country, one sector segment is a tier 1 high-tech city people. There's income, their mindset, everything's different. They might talking about IoT, they might talking about the RFID, they might talking about some kind of new technologies. They don't mind to pay the EV over 1 lakh. However, on another side, 60% of population is still in the countryside. That market gave the 75% market share for the fuel-driven market, for fuel-driven two-wheelers, such as Hero, TVS, Bajaj. So as a company, you need to have a product portfolio to offer to the two market. And India has the largest density of the city population. That's the reason why the Zipto, Blinkit, that's for the groceries delivery. Sorry. And for the food, Swiggy, Zomato, very successful IPO from food. On the e-commerce, there's Amazon, there's Flipkart. What does that mean? After pandemic, last mile delivery becomes a necessity. We are so get used to shopping online. And for the last mile delivery, 30% of the total cost coming from the fuel. It's very interesting. India don't make the engine oil. India, as South Asian country, solar energy is so strong. If you look at the last, the last half year, the 5 countries have the deficit on the global trade. India deficit, trade deficit. Number 1, China, probably around the $23 billion. Because buy the electronicals, anything electronicals, you have to buy from China. And there are 5 other countries like UAE, Russian. Why the deficit? Because India has to buy oil. So when that, certainly as consumer, we know the oil prices go to the more than 100 rupee per gallon. So last mile impact totally because of the oil price go up. So you need to have a product portfolio for that. Certainly technology for the Bajaj and TVS dealer network management is not being changed because they established 30 years ago. That's all those create a tremendous opportunity. If you can tap that, and certainly you can make the India's Teslas. You can make some mobile industry what's happened very fast. 5 years, 7 years. Start from Macroeconomics, Viva, right on. Everybody talking about OnePlus, Vivo, Oppo, me. That's what we talk about future. Let's look over the who is players on the market on the EV industry. Unfortunately, 90% they're all the traders. They go China, buy the chip components, they assemble and then dump it. Those companies in the next 24 months will be totally disappeared. Let's forget the trade models. Look over other 3 models. Number 1, we call the software mindset. It's very interesting. You say that you look in the twice. What's the difference between the manufacturing and software? People say, okay, manufacturing, you need the goods, which are tangible. You need to have a logistic. And then the service, software, you need only the people, intellectual assets. That's very true. On the other side, because of that, on the software, the speed of the company can run truly depends on yourself. If you have best product, great ideas, You recruit the very good manager, the very good, talented programmers. You sell globally. Your speed is purely determined by yourself because you don't have ecosystem. You don't have supply chains. Who's your supplier chains? Supply what? On another side, manufacturing is assembly. You need to have ecosystem. You are truly dependent on suppliers. Even you make the best R&D, however, your supplier cannot make it. Even you cannot make it yourself from R&D to the production. That is becomes a disaster. Think about the Ether. They have a very good product. However, price is so high. The new model put on the market is so low, so slow. That's because the mindset about the software is totally different when the hardware. Hardware is foster develop the suppliers. Hardware, you cannot do the open, you have to do the open door R&D, do the global R&Ds instead of close the door. If somebody else created the product 20 years ago, why you don't take it? Why you need to start from scratch? That means recreate the wheels. That's called the software mindset. Another kind is elephant. Big elephanter, let's take the book of the elephanter can dance. Big elephanter can dance. That's talking about IBM 20 years ago. IBM, they sell the hardware to the Lenovo legend right now called Lenovo. They stopped the softwares. Used to be the IBM have Lotus Notes and a lot of DB2, a lot of softwares. They don't do it. They change it to the service industry. So that's implying for the big elephanter, in order to dance, they need to commit suicide. They need to unplug the money and the talents from the lucrative money-making sectors for the future sector. If you look at Bajaj, if you look at the TVS, one of two models, waiting time is too long. You could ask him, are they serious for the new industry? And another approach is the global R&D. Take the global R&Ds, come to the India. We take the global R&Ds of China. Even we are related with China. I'm going to talk about how we related with China. However, we're the local startup. Let's talk about DAO family. Talk about DAO. DAO is a Pune-based EV manufacturers with global approach. In China, we're 20 years, one of top 4. And then from US, we're invest from US, and then we take the customer service in the US. In the India, we're very much concentrate on making Indians because we don't think that is the term to regulation compliance. We think that is the mode, economic mode, M-O-A-T, economic mode from the Warren Buffett concept, which means once you have mode, your competitor cannot come in, which means give you the higher margins. So we believe the making India localization, create the local ecosystem, suppliers will do that. So we are an India company with a different global approach. So our vision is very simple mission: move the world closer to the India conservative, to provide reliable, sustainable, affordable, and innovative EV products. I hope certainly one of the reasons why I talk with your school and then our bright MBA students, because we want to recruit. For our culture, we do take the action, don't talk a lot. And then we are consumer centric because we believe only the consumer give us money, not the investor. Because investor want to make money. If you cannot, the consumer don't give the money, don't let you make the money. Investor, they're going to abandon you very quick. Government don't give us money because government want the tax, want the employment. Why government give you the money? You have to understand who is the real money giver, which is consumer. So we better, instead of chasing the investor, instead of chasing the government, serve the customers. So for that reason, it's a Zuhu. It's a fully respected company at the Chennai for us. You think about they're competing with Salesforce. A lot of giants, but they don't go to the capitals. They don't go to the VC money. Say, hey, give me some VC, because they believe the consumer is only money source. And in order to better serve the consumer, we need to try the innovation. Innovation is our blood. Summing up, who is DAO? Yes, we are EV manufacturers. We based at Pune, established in 2019, and then we are very concentrated on making Indias. And we are a global team. However, we are 100% local. Except me and a couple global team members. Rest, they're all local engineers, factory workers, different functions for the HRs. Everyone local. Indians. That's what we believe the India company is supposed to be when global attach. And then so far we have the one flagship store in Hyderabad, 20-30 dealers in South India. We are pan-India. It's going to be the 400 dealers. Maybe this goal is very ambitious, but the most likely by the mid of next year we can reach this goal to 400 dealers. And then we have a 3 product, and so we make all our products to be the battery swappable, and then the removable. For the future of DAO, our goal is very simple: serve the customer. Meanwhile, looking at financial returns, not today, right away. So in the next 2 years, we grow our business to the 1.6 lakhs volumes per year. We are very confident to reach there. When that, the goal is to IPO in the US market, because very interestingly, India market is very much opening for the global IPOs, as more and more friendly. Used to be the only info says a very few companies go to the US public. Right now more and more, because the size also different. But that's kind of background, a couple of slides talking about the FEM2. FEM2 standing for the fast adoption. It's a very easily to understand FEM2 for your knowledge is, number one, high speed. Only government give the subsidy for the high speed, which is almost around the 1 kilowatt hour, 50 Ks. Second is asking for localization. 50% of the material content need to be made in India. We believe this is a great policy. You can look at the market with Boom, Ola, Ether. They're totally 2 different market segments with Okinawa dealers. Couple slides. We are Pune, the factory picture a little bit old. Right now we're quite occupied. We have 2 product lines. We're going to make around 7,000 vehicles per month in this factory. Now, so far we're closing to our 1,000 per month. That is what we say the flagships, because the innovation that showed another our innovation. Why go to the shopping mall? Because India young population, hard summer, no place to go shopping mall at the weekend. Once get a shopping mall built for the female. Shop ends, lifestyles, all female. Because the people can stay in the shopping mall all day. There are a lot of food court, there are a lot of stalls. So once you get there, we say, let's create something just like a Kurama, just like a Reliance Digital. So that's what we get our EV stuff over there. Try to say EV, it is not your vehicle only. It is an electrical vehicle. It is the more important as your lifestyle. So that's our three product. This is the left one. We're competing with the Ola ethers, and we're put on market to reach for the 1,000 per month. On the left side, on the right side, that's our countryside, and for the delivery models. Battery on fire, it is the topic for the last half year haunted the industry. From day one, we say, okay, LFP only, make the thermal safe. The vehicle, the most important thing is safety. And then we are driven by technology. For example, we created the apps, can track the geofence. If the out of geofence, reminding the owners, and the owners can control the riders, which is for the last mile deliveries. And then this is just like a vehicle, is an EV, it is computer. You can remotely lock down the vehicles. And then people to pick up, and then you can change the riders. So at a single minute, you can know where is your vehicle, to whom they're doing the delivery, how much delivery they did, how much money as the investor of the EV fleet, which is we created the EV fleet, how much money you're going to make. So that's the mean that technology is not only for the IT. Technologies can be uniquely combined with manufacturing. This is another book today I could recommend to the people. This gentleman called the Alfred Sloan. Alfred Sloan is a CEO and chairman from 1929 to 1963 at General Motors. He created a lot of systems for such as model year concept. The every vehicle, which model, which year, instead of for the EV, especially EV in the India, nobody asking the model years. He defiantly competing with the Ford model. Take the at 1999, Ford model taking 75% of market share in the US. He defied that, and so his most famous saying is a car is for every purpose, every purse. So he wrote a book called My Years as a General Model. It's a very interesting book to read to understand the automotive industry. My Years as a General Model. So what's up? We show this page is how we do the dealer system different. For example, we have buyback, we have a DAO and trust support, we have APIs, a lot of different things. So here's very quickly the couple product, as I mentioned, that's we are as DAO, a company, we are offered to the market. Because this is your career day, so my job is share of my knowledge. I get my education from US, my home is still in California. Meanwhile, I work in China for the last 15 years. And currently I work in India. So that gives me the global perspective to fully understand India. So I hope that can inspire you to make you think twice what your career could look like. And then don't follow everyone's path. You have to thinking, what's your strengths? So when that, I shift back to the hosters. I done my presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. That was really enriching overview of India's economic conditions, the market conditions, and scope of the automotive and vehicle market for EV in India. And it was also really informative for us to know the overview of DAO, its future aspects, the DAO factory and product lines in India, how IoT has been inculcated in the EV industry designing, and it was enriching also to know the market strategy of DAO. Thank you so much, sir. So if I have the permissions, can I please open the floor for the questions from the audience?
Sure, please.
Thank you. So Amit Sunar has got a question, and others can raise their hands if they are really inquisitive to know more about the future aspects of EV. Amit Sunar.
Hello. Hello. Good evening, Dr. Lau. Am I audible to you?
Yes, yes.
So thank you so much for that session. My past background, my past experience was from the automotive domain. So I was very much interested. I was very much intrigued by your slide, and it was a very enriching session for me. And many of our cohorts, they are also from the automotive domain. So surely they would have also benefited from this session. So my question is regarding the technology that we have been talking about, the EV. Many of our people, they believe that EV right now is currently maybe the answer, the technology wise, but in the future run, in the long run, because the EV technology, it uses the fossil fuels, which are the finite natural resources present in our world. So in that case, people are more shifting towards a new source of power, such as, if you have heard of, fuel cell cars or fuel cell power. So do you think that in this scenario, EV would be a permanent solution to this technology in this industry?
First let's define what is EV. EV, which means a vehicle powered by electricity instead of oil power. So where the electricity coming from? You could say coming from battery, maybe coming from something else, which is certainly the technology-wise, what's the exact name? I forget. But my point is that even look at the battery. They start from NMC, right now get to the LFP. This is very quickly developed, evolving market, evolving technologies on the battery side. But one thing for sure, the vehicle no more need dependency on the oil only. That is the technology we're talking about. Regarding to what exactly is, even the Tesla, you think about that they started NMC, and then for the last 2 years, they almost completely changed to the LFPs. So regarding to the definition, what's kind of battery that's consistent of, that is not the point. But the trend is already happening. That's my point.
If I have the permission, can I ask one more question? It's regarding your slides, actually. If I have the permission.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're asking the hoster. So how you guys want it? Typically, as a hoster, but asking the questions, and then hey, where's the hoster? You allow him to ask another question, or you want to share to the other people? That's your call.
Sir, it's up to you if you are.
All right, sure. So you go ahead. As far as she's okay, yeah, go ahead.
In that the strategy of DAO, it's more inclined towards targeting the tier 3 cities.
No. India is a large city, tier 1 high-tech city people, and then tier 3 tier countryside. You have to serve the two market. That's the first slide. Clearly tell the India market situation. If you don't have the portfolio for that, you are not in the game. You think about Hero, why they can compete with the Honda? Because 75% of their market share come from the tier 3 and then countryside. You need to have the good portfolio of the products.
Okay, that was my only question.
Sure.
Thank you.
Yes, thank
now
you.
I would request Ankit Rai, you can go ahead with the question.
Yeah, thank you, Amit. So thank you, Mr. Michael. As EV is coming new to India, and in order to implement it successfully, the infrastructure and ecosystem is must. We hear a lot of news in regarding EV two-wheelers that has been come to break down, and you have to leave the EV vehicle there itself, and a lot of issues in resolving the customer's problem. So how DAO is ensuring that such type of scenarios are handled by their service providers properly? And is there any way that you are training the mechanisms? Like for conventional fuel system vehicles, we have mechanics available after every 2 kilometers or 4 kilometers in India. So how you are ensuring that these types of issues are being resolved from customers' perspective?
First, let me correct, you have the four illusions. Number one, EV is not new in India. EV has been in India more than 10 years. If you talk about Ampere, if you talk about the, even Okinawa, probably 7 years, 8 years old companies already. Because the EV new is because more and more people enter. That's what becomes the hot. However, EV as industry is long enough. Second is, number two, there are no need for the infrastructures. That's what I say. If you look at the four-wheelers, US, Europe, China, they say, all right, hey, we need to have charge point. We need to have a lot of infrastructures. For the two-wheelers, what kind of infrastructure you need as far as battery is removable, swappable. The third is the illusion you're talking about. Do you have the EVs break it down on the road, and then do you have the technician? Do you have the people to help them? The illusion is that they're supposed not to break down on the road. Once they break it down on the road, if you are relying on the service team to fix it, you're going to bankrupt very quickly because the product default, and then you have to find a lot of people to chase your customer and then fix the situation on the road. That's for sure you're going to be bankrupt. So why the EV break on the road? Two issues. Number one is coming from the broken parts. If anybody understands the automotive industry, there are the four different parts. Number one is plastic. Number two is metal. Number three is the safety related ones like the wheel rims, like the disc brakes. Number four is the electronic components. Because as we say, 90% of they're doing the trading model. They don't care about their brand. They don't care about their product quality. Even their chassis break down. Certainly, Ola happened. Chassis breakdown. That's unbelievable. Even you have collision, how could you get a chassis breakdown? So that is a mistake. Second is when the battery dying on the road. You need to give the much more accuracy, your SOC, your predict the riding range, the technology. You need to focus on the technologies to avoid those happen instead of say, okay, how many people you can dispatch on the road. That's a nightmare. So for us, we have even we are using LFD, but we have the data. We have the better algorithm to predict what's your SOC and then get to the chassis and the plastic and then all those. That's a common sense, Otherwise, you're not in the automotive industry because a lot of people from IT background, they are not in the automotive industries. So the fourth solutions, which is probably you didn't mention, but you're implying. So because the biggest topic for the last half year in the India, the EV industry is battery on fire. How possible battery on fire? So that's a scare to everyone. So battery on fire because they don't. That's not only say okay, who's going to make the sales? Who's making the sales is a way to show how we love our country. But the global from business side, sales 98% making in China, making the South Koreans. But the point is that how you pack it, how you have technology prevent battery on fire. That's the first thing instead of making the sales first. So certainly we don't understand the lot of things about the Ola they're doing. Certainly not. We also don't have interest because we take care of our own customers. But my point is, chassis broken down, and then the battery dead, battery even on fire, that is a mistake from OEM. That's not to say how you serve of that. That's supposed not to happen. I hope I answered your questions. However, I also would like to correct your 4 illusions.
Yeah, thank you. I got that. It's completely dependent on technology. Thank you.
Yes.
So here on, I would request Amit Sunar, the co-host of the session, to continue all of us for the further questions. Please, Amit.
Thank you, Shilpita. Sumit, you can go ahead and ask a question.
Yeah, hello. Am I audible?
Yes.
Yeah, good afternoon, sir.
Yes. Good afternoon.
So my question to you is regarding, since the government is pushing a lot for the uptake of EVs in India, but still the international combustion engine vehicles are prominent in the market. So considering what do you think a technological breakthrough like an affordable price for a big country like India, having like high range batteries or any other technological breakthrough is required for faster uptake of EVs, considering the limited fossil fuel based resources we have, and being like there are many schemes, FAME 1, FAME 2 schemes, and all the state have notified their electric vehicle policies, and there are central policies for setting up charging infrastructure and all. But do you think still the uptake of EVs in India is still not up to the mark? The main concern can be like having batteries with lower range, and a charging infrastructure is also a major bottleneck.
You also, let me clarify on the 2 points, if that is a illusion, I call illusions. Number one is, hey, how fast the adoption of the EV can be? What's the breakthroughs? Second is, what is breakthrough? Oh, do we need the charge point? Do we need to have the batteries, all those? Hey, number one, the speed already fast enough. If you look at the 4 years, which is happening, 4 years grow the 20 times. If you look at today, compared to the last year, the industry grew 9 times. My point is that, yes, because this is the early stage, nascent stage. So you don't see the exploding, boom, 5 millions. That's even McKinsey said that by the 2025 will be the 5.8 millions, which is 6 millions. But the speed is already fast enough. You don't need breakthroughs. It's happening. You have to believe that it is happening. That's my number 1 point. Number 2 is, hey, what's a new technology? What's a breakthrough? Forget new technology. Take the existing technology, adapt to the Indian environment. That's much faster and much reliable. So that's what I'm saying. Why you need the charge point? 4-wheeler, you need a charge point. For the 2-wheelers, your battery is only 15 kgs. As far as the thermal safe, you get home to charge. India is not the 4-wheelers country yet. Even your 91% registered vehicle, they're 2-wheelers. Why we talk about the Samsung? We don't need it for the country right now. Second part is, the technology breakthrough. There are 2 ways. Number 1 is I call it the global approach. Take it, solve it, instead of close the door. Recreate something completely yourself. Why do it? Why we cannot take the other people's technology, take the other people's accumulated the intellectual properties, and then do it? Why we need to recreate the wheel ourselves? So certainly, once you get to the certain level, you need to do a very innovative, completely because nobody did it. If somebody already did it, why you cannot borrow? You cannot recruit people. I'll give you an example. If you think about Infosys and then TCS, they go China for the R&D centers. Why the Ether cannot go to the R&D center in China to recruit 100 people, and then they already doing it for the 15 years, 20 years. Why you need to recreate the whales? My point is, right now we are living the connected global environment, thinking global perspective instead of the, okay, let me close the door. Everything I need to be myself. So certainly, this is the commercial industry instead of the defense industry. So I hope I make my point here.
Okay, got it, sir. Sir, on top of the answer that you gave, just building on to that, can I ask one more question?
Sure. Glad to.
So, considering the competitor, we have new technology in the form of hydrogen fuel cell vehicles. Like it was 100 years back also, there was IC versus hydrogen debate when IC was developed, but because we found lots of fossil fuel based natural resources, so international combustion engine took over and the whole industry grew in that way. But now again, since we have limited resources, now hydrogen debate is again to the cell, and there are also very few, like Toyota only came up with one hydrogen based car. So what do you think? EV is here to stay for a much longer duration, or like hydrogen is there to stay? Like it's just a filler between hydrogen, which can be the ultimate future, or is EV for the longer stay?
Sure. I hope I'm during my presentation you see a slide. General Motors, 112 years old company, say by 2035 we are no longer to make the fuel-driven vehicles. Ford Motor for their Europe market, they say by 2025 we're no longer to make the fuel-driven vehicles. And then for the Europe, each country they have their deadline, shift 100% to the EV industries. That is for sure, it is happening. It is permanent. It's going to be happening. Think about 2035. As I say, that's only the 13 years. But we are witness the history is going to happen. It's not say, that's another reason why the 18 years old the Tesla market value more than all the rest of the automotive company combined. Could you believe it? Why is their PE ratio? If you're on the financial side, the certainly market cap equal to the issued shares by the price, which is PE ratio. So, but for the PE ratio, why is it so high? It is happening.
Okay, sir. Got it.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sumit. Akash, you can go ahead and ask your question.
Mr. Michael, thank you for the session and insights on Indian economy, about the multinational OEMs, how they are preparing for the EV sector. My question is related to considering the EV market and how the new entrants are coming in India as well as overseas, and even the established players like Ola Electric, Ather Energy are there in the Indian market. What is the unique value offering or unique value proposition for DAO EVTech that as a consumer I should be more aligned towards DAO EV? What is the differentiation for the product?
Yes, if you talk about product level, we have a lot of innovation different. For example, thermal safe batteries, and then we have the reverse model, we have the emergency rescue models. We have a lot of more than the 10 items I can claim to talk about it. But today is not my sales job. Today, I would like much more talking about industry, talking about what that can be benefits for your career. If you have interest, get to our website. Then every information is over there. I don't want to sell more for my company. Thank you.
That's it.
Thank you, Akash. Now I would request Nishit to ask his question.
Hello, sir. First of all, thanks for the session. We got learn about EV a lot. And my question is that lithium is very finite, and even the lithium production is not very environmental friendly. So is there any alternative that DAO is working on other than lithium?
Lithium battery is way better than the lead acid. And the lithium battery itself can be recycled. Yes, to working on the recycle, to working on the technology of the recycle, for example, how many charge time you have been used on your battery. When you use the charge time, that is something the industry need to offer not only from OEM standpoint, need to offer from the different perspective. As far as that's recycle is happening, then the environment damage, which is certainly because of batteries. So then the environment protection, everything will be not the major consideration, which is if you look at the globally speaking, there's a lot of recycle happening, and there are a lot of recycle technology has been developed at this stage. Certainly, we are glad to also we are involved of some. So something, if your question to want to sell more on the DAO, I thank you for this opportunity, but I don't want to talk more. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Next, we have Sampath. You can go ahead and ask a question.
Thanks, Amit. So first of all, I want to say thank you for the insightful session. And my question to you is that we are seeing like some months also, I was saying in the newspaper that some of the electric scooter or electric vehicle, it was actually exploding. So can you please give up some light on that one, that why that was exploding, or what all the safety feature it should be there by which that should not be happened in the future, and how this DAO is doing on that one?
Sure. Yes, for the last half years, a lot of incidents, unfortunately, happening from even from Ola, from the Okinawas, and the lot. So the government takes a very serious action on this. Why it is happening? Number one is the industry at this stage, 90% of companies, they're only doing the trading model. They don't do the R&D. They don't do the product research, protection for their consumers. They just dump it. If you remember, there the one truckload of vehicle just burned because they just want to dump it. Second part is the technology. How from technology side, how you prevent? Number one is the sales. Sales have the two majors. Number one is you need a consistency. You need the consistency of each sales in the same level. If some sales are long, just like your finger, some is long, some is short, hey, they are not on the same level. There's the issue. So in order to do that, you need to find the reliable sales companies. Because once you make the battery, nobody knows what kind of cells you're using. You have to ask in your heart, do I satisfy myself? Do I really support and then help my customers? That's the only thing you can, their sales prices varied probably easily 30–40%. Even the different company, some companies, they have grade A sales, grade B sales, grade C sales. So it's very complicated. So as a battery company, as OEM, you have to be genuine, to be honest, integrity, and then asking yourself, do I really being good for country, for consumers? Second part is, yes, a lot of companies, they want to cut the corners. For example, they don't use the communications, which is a software BMS, we call it. BMS standing for the battery management system. They're supposed to detect your battery's health situation every second. For the temperature, for the consistency, for all those. If That's at least 3,000 rupees price difference. If you don't take the software BMS, you don't communicate with your sales. Nobody knows. Even the I believe Ola's EV parked on the street at Pune, it's on fire. So if the temperature is too high, could you cut off? Could you give the warning to the consumers? So that's you need a smartness. You need the intelligent on real-time communication. That's the cost of money. People don't use that. The third is the sales type. Because India, the summer condition, weather condition over 45 degrees. We believe LFP, which is the chemistry, LFP is the only type of battery, lithium battery, good for the Indians. So, however, that's expensive. Do you care? Another thing is related to when the battery package. You take the good cells, you take the good process, you take the good cares of the technology for the welding. Why you welding? Hey, how you weld, how you pack. If there's a short circuit, that's for sure is going to on fires. So this is all. I'm Ph.D. of the economics and the finance, but I learned because I love this industry. I learned if I can learn this kind of deep, the technology guy know it, but why they don't do it? Then become the issues. This is for sure. This is for the last 18 years. This is a mature industry. It's not something new. Oh, because of new technology or new something. Tesla, yes, their battery on fire right now, less and less. So if we take the global approach, if we take the global technology really working on it, this is possible. That's not happening. So from technology side, from the company value systems, from the way of the global approach, a couple ways you can do it, but why they don't do, I don't know. Yeah, hope I answer your questions.
Yeah, thank you, sir.
Okay, next I would request Imran. Please, you can go ahead and ask a question.
Sure, thank you. So, sir, I have a question on electricity demand will increase drastically once people start using EV. So how do we cater the demand needs, or the demand load time will increase with people using more and more of EV vehicles? So how is DAO tackling those, or what is the proposition of DAO?
Yes. So you think about the solar energy, 5-6 years ago has been promoted heavily in the India, especially at the Gujarat. The reason is very simple. India is a very good country for the solar energy. Except the monsoon, if they're not right now. India, the temperature is higher, and then the solar energy is sufficient enough. So our goal is down the road, the next step we are doing is once we start to swap batteries, the battery can take the solar energy, and then each day, each night, we take the used batteries, get back to factory, and then they take the solar energy is put on, and the next day it can be used by the consumers. So you need to connect the EV with the solar energy industries. The good thing is the solar energy already have the very strong infrastructure in India.
Sure, thank you, sir.
Sure.
Okay, thank you, Imran. Manish, you can ask a question now.
Good evening, sir. So my question to you is, in India or anywhere in the world, we have motorbikes and scooters as two segments in two-wheeler segment. But whichever the company or the OEMs you see right now, they are coming with electric scooters, and only Revolt and Torque in India have launched their motorbikes. So this thing has created a gap in the availability of products, kind of bikes in both segments, and customers either have to switch their purchase or they wait till the product is launched. So is there any specific reason that all the OEMs are coming with electric scooters rather than with bikes?
First, you have to look at the fuel-driven industry, where the growth coming from. Leading by the TVS, for the fuel-driven two-wheeler, the growth coming from scooters. In the scooters, yes, young people, 27 years old, and then everybody wants the bikes, motorcycles instead of you like the Royal Enfield and all those. However, the industry really leading by the scooters. That's the first part. And the second part is, yes, you will see not only Revolt is going to make the, don't talk about talk because we don't see their product. So Revolt is making the motorcycle, but you will see more and more, including the DAO, we have the product offering already doing it for the motorcycle side, bike side. And the whole thing is look at the trend, look at the what other people they're doing. Yes, your point is right. Yes, motorcycles, that's a good market. Everybody have to take it.
Okay, so that answers my question.
Sure.
Thank you, sir.
Now, I would request Ashwin, if you can go ahead and ask your question.
Hello, sir. Having worked in BMS for a little while and studied about it, I would like to know, like, the most complex part about electric vehicle is its BMS, the battery management system, along with the battery, and rest of the part can be like handled by any normal mechanic. So how do we think like we will have the normal mechanics adopting into the electric batteries and the management systems? Like it's pretty complex for them because of the circuitry that is involved. And my second question is, the main issue that we see right now is the thermal runaway, which causes, as you rightly said, the communication systems are not being implemented properly. We are having like cheaper BMS systems installed for like cost cutting. So thermal runaways are happening, and we are seeing blasts in the Ola scooters and all. And also another issue is the charging time. So both of these are being addressed in a probable future offering, which is graphene aluminum ion batteries. So how far off are we from achieving that future, which could solve both these issues? So, two questions.
So this is not for future. This is for right now. That's why the Indian government very quickly and very strongly take the action on this. If the battery on fire, where's the future? So the point is we have to look at is the technology already there. Why don't take it? That is the question consumer have to ask for the nascent EV industries. Regarding to how the BMS, real-time control, real-time communication. So that's really be, today I'm glad to share my thoughts with the future or business leader. As a business leader, you have to ask him number one question: what's your value system? Are you greedy for the money, or you want to take care of your customers? So technology is always coming from the second consideration, because technology is already existing, already there. But the youth want to make the money instead of take care of them, because consumers, they are suffering. Consumers, they don't know. Even consumers, they might come confused if you protect them. But you need to make the bold determination, say what's good for the consumer is good for the future of the company. That's a fundamental. I hope the MBA students, let's remember of that. Technology is very easy part.
Yes, sir. Another add-on to this question is that where we go for just like higher batteries and higher, the better quality BMS systems cost higher, And I think I'm not sure, but I think that is the reason why people go with the cheaper alternatives, because in India the market is driven by who offers the cheapest product, at least right now. So that could be a reason why these companies are going for the not the best quality products and like trying to settle with the cheaper quality ones. So
regarding why they do it, let's don't talk about it. Because everyone have their own reasons. But as MBA students, as a good future business leader, asking ourselves, what is our North Star? Because once the dark, you need to see the North Star. North Star is going to guide you past all the difficulties. Most time, when you're in face of difficulty, people don't understand you. But you have to ask yourself, do I do it right? Because that's a sooner or later is going to pay you out. And the second is my suggestion for our future business leader is thinking big, thinking high. Don't chase the money. Let the money chase on you. Create something valuable, create something benefits for your customer. The money is going to come with you. The money is second consideration of the business.
okay, so thank you.
Sure.
So thank you, Dr. Lau. I think that was our last question because we have time only till 5. Sorry, we have exceeded that. I'm sorry for other people who also raised their hands, but they could not ask the questions. So again, on behalf of the entire our batch, I would like to thank Dr. Michael Lau for such an insightful session where we have discussed, and it was an interesting, informative overview of the India's economic conditions, market conditions, and the scope of automotive and vehicle market for EV in India. It was really informative to know the overview of DAO and its future aspects, the DAO factory and the product lines in India, how IoT has been inculcated in the EV designing, and what are the market strategy of DAO and the product lines of DAO already existing in the market. So with that, I would like to bring this session to an end, and I thank you all for your participation, and thank you.
Thank you. Hope my 2 points for everyone to take away. Number 1, thinking big, thinking long. Number 2, what's your value systems? What's your North Star in the darkness? Because that is going to guide you safely. So best wishes for your career and then for your next year's graduation. If you have any interest in apply any job on the DAO, get into our website, get into the LinkedIn. You can find me. Thank you very much. Have a good day.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Have a nice day.
Thank you, sir. Have a nice day.